Welcome back to Coin Quest, everyone. Today, we're going to dive deep into the world of coin collecting and take a closer look at the Jefferson nickel from 1961. This 5-cent coin might look like any other nickel you find in pocket change, but the truth is some of these coins can be worth far more than just face value, and in some cases they can sell for hundreds and even thousands of dollars if the right variety and condition is found. So stay tuned as we go over the history, the details, the mintages, the varieties, and the current market value of the 1961 Jefferson nickel. First, let's talk a little bit about the history of the Jefferson nickel. The series first began back in 1938 when it replaced the Buffalo nickel. On the obverse of the coin, we see the familiar portrait of Thomas Jefferson, the third president of the United States, and on the reverse, we have Jefferson's home Monticello. The design has been used for decades, and collectors love the Jefferson series because it contains several key dates and rare varieties, making it both affordable for beginners and exciting for advanced collectors. Now, specifically in 1961, the Jefferson nickel was struck at two different mints, the Philadelphia Mint and the Denver Mint. If you find one with no mint mark, that means it was struck in Philadelphia. And if you see a small D mint mark on the reverse to the right of Monticello, that means it was struck in Denver. The Philadelphia Mint produced about 76 million nickels that year, while the Denver Mint struck an incredible 229 million nickels, so the Denver Mint issues are far more common, but that doesn't mean all of them are ordinary. The important thing to remember about Jefferson nickels from the early 1960s is that quality matters. Most of the coins entered circulation and picked up scratches, dings, and wear very quickly, so if you happen to find one that is still in mint state condition with sharp details, bright luster, and clean surfaces, then you are looking at a coin that collectors will pay a premium for. In fact, high-grade examples graded by professional services like PCGS or NGC can sell for hundreds of dollars, even for regular business strikes. But what really gets collectors excited are proof nickels for 1961, because the Philadelphia Mint produced over 3 million proof coins that year. These proof nickels were sold directly to collectors in special sets, and they have mirror-like surfaces, sharp strikes, and stunning details. Some proofs also display something called cameo contrast, where Jefferson's portrait and Monticello look frosted against a deeply mirrored background. These cameo and deep cameo proofs are especially desirable and can easily reach into the hundreds or even thousands of dollars if they are graded in perfect condition. Another factor that makes the 1961 nickel stand out is the existence of some rare varieties. One of the most famous is the 1961 double die obverse, where doubling can be seen in Jefferson's eyes, lips, or parts of the lettering on the coin. There are also reports of die breaks and repunched mint marks from the Denver issues. These errors and varieties are highly collectible and can raise the value of the coin dramatically. Instead of just a few dollars, you could be looking at a coin worth hundreds. Now, let's break down the current market value. In circulated condition, most 1961 nickels are only worth face value, which is 5 cents. However, if you have one in uncirculated condition, mint state 63, for example, it could sell for around $5 to $10. If the grade reaches MS 65, the price can easily jump to $40 or more. And for those rare MS 66 or MS 67 examples, collectors are willing to pay hundreds of dollars at auction. The Denver minted nickels tend to be more common, but high-grade examples still bring in strong premiums. For proof nickels, the values depend heavily on the strike and the cameo effect. A regular proof from 1961 might bring $5 to $15, but if it has cameo contrast, you could be looking at $50 to $100. And a deep cameo in perfect PR 69 condition has sold for well over $3,000 at major auctions. That is an incredible return for a coin that was originally sold as part of a proof set for just over $2 back in the 1960 SSO. The bottom line is this: if you have a Jefferson nickel from 1961, you want to check it closely. Look for a mint mark. Look for signs of doubling or mint errors, and pay close attention to the condition, even though the majority of these coins are common. In circulated grades, the few that survive in pristine condition can be worth a lot of money. Coin collecting is full of surprises, and the 1961 Jefferson nickel is a perfect example of how a simple 5-cent piece can turn into a valuable collectible treasure. So always check your pocket change or coin jars, and especially any old coin collections that may have been passed down to you. You never know when you might stumble across one of these valuable nickels. Thanks for watching, And if you enjoyed learning about the 1961 Jefferson nickel, make sure to subscribe to the channel for more videos on rare and valuable coins. Every coin tells a story, and every collector has the chance to find a hidden gem out there. Happy hunting, everyone. Today we're going to talk about an amazing coin that many people still overlook, the Jefferson nickel from 1987. This 5-cent piece may look ordinary at first glance, but the truth is it carries a fascinating history, and in some cases can be worth a lot of money. So if you have some of these nickels lying around, you may want to take a closer look, because certain examples of the 1987 Jefferson nickel are highly sought after by collectors and could put extra cash in your pocket. Let us begin with a quick history lesson. The Jefferson nickel has been minted since 1938, and it replaced the Buffalo nickel that was struck from 1913 to 1938. The design of the Jefferson nickel was created by Felix Schlag, who won a design competition held by the United States Mint. It features the portrait of Thomas Jefferson, the third president of the United States, on the obverse or front side of the coin. In Monticello, Jefferson's Virginia home, on the reverse or back side, the design has seen only slight changes over the decades, but the core look has remained the same, giving the coin a very iconic and recognizable appearance. By the year 1987, the Jefferson nickel was already a staple of American coinage. The coin is composed of 75% copper and 25% nickel, giving it a silvery appearance, but with durability to survive decades of circulation. During that year, the Philadelphia Mint produced over 655 million nickels, while the Denver Mint produced over 438 million coins, meaning there are well over a billion nickels dated 1987 still in circulation or in collections. The San Francisco Mint also struck proof versions of the 1987 nickel for collectors in very limited numbers. With so many nickels produced, you may be wondering what makes the 1987 nickel special and why some of them are worth much more than just 5 cents. The answer lies in the condition, rarity, and errors. Just like most coins, collectors want the best preserved examples, coins that have no scratches or wear and still shine like the day they were minted. These high-grade mint state nickels are rare because most coins from 1987 entered circulation immediately and picked up damage over time. Let us talk about condition. First, if you find a 1987 Jefferson nickel that has been graded mint state 65 or higher by a professional grading company like PCGS or NGC, then you may be holding a coin worth several dollars, even though it is just a common date nickel. Examples graded MS 67 or better can be worth $100 or more because so few exist in such pristine quality. And if you are lucky enough to find one graded MS 68, which is extremely rare, then you're looking at a coin that can bring in several $100s at auction. Another major factor that makes 1987 Jefferson nickels valuable is the presence of mint errors. Mint errors occur when something goes wrong during the coin production process. These mistakes can create coins that look very different from the normal issue, and collectors are always eager to pay premium prices for them. Some of the most valuable 1987 nickel errors include double die obverse or reverse, where the design elements look doubled off, center strikes, where the coin design is not centered properly, clipped planchets, where part of the coin is missing due to a cutting mistake, and even struck through errors where a foreign object like a piece of cloth or grease leaves an impression on the coin. These types of mint errors can sell for anywhere between $50 to several $100s, depending on the severity and rarity of the error. We also need to mention the proof versions of the 1987 Jefferson nickel proof coins were struck in San Francisco with mirror-like surfaces specifically for collectors. These coins were never meant for circulation, and they were sold directly in special sets. The 1987 proof nickels often sell for just a few dollars if they're common, but if you find a cameo or deep cameo proof in perfect condition, it can bring $20 to $50 and sometimes more depending on the demand among collectors. Now, let us turn to the current market value of the 1987 Jefferson nickel in circulated condition, meaning the coins that you would find in your pocket. Change of value is still only 5 cents since so many were minted, and they are not rare. However, in uncirculated condition, these nickels start at about $1 to $2 and can increase dramatically as the grade improves. Coins graded MS 66 are usually worth $20 to $40. Coins graded MS67 can be worth $100 to $250, and coins in MS68 are the rarest and can bring over $1,000 at auction, especially if the coin has great luster, eye appeal, and no marks. The error coins, as we said, can also be very valuable. For example, an off-center strike for 1987 might bring in $75 to $150, depending on how much of the design is missing. A dramatic double die error could easily fetch hundreds of dollars in rare full step designations, where the steps on Monticello are completely visible and sharp, can make a nickel far more desirable. Collectors love Jefferson nickels with full steps, and a 1987 nickel with this designation can sell for several $100s or more. So, as you can see, while most 1987 nickels are only worth face value, there are indeed some rare examples that could be worth a lot of money. It all depends on the condition and whether the coin has any unique characteristics or minting errors that separate it from the billions of others produced. If you're a coin collector or just someone who likes to check their change, it is always worth keeping an eye out for Jefferson nickels from the 1980s, because you never know what kind of hidden treasure you may come across. That wraps up our look at the Jefferson 1987 5-cent nickel coin, its history, its value, and the current market prices. If you enjoyed learning about this coin, make sure to check your own collection, because you just might be holding on to a valuable piece without even realizing it. Thanks so much for watching, and as always, happy hunting. Today we are diving into the world of coin collecting and exploring the Jefferson nickel from 1991. This 5-cent piece may look ordinary at first glance, but there's a lot of history behind it, and depending on the condition and certain details, it could be worth far more than its face value. So stay with me until the end, because you never know, you might have one of these nickels sitting in your pocket change or coin jar right now, and it could be worth a lot of money. The Jefferson nickel series started back in 1938, replacing the Buffalo nickel, and it has become one of the most collected and recognized coins in American history. Designed by Felix Schlag, the coin features the portrait of Thomas Jefferson on the obverse side, the third president of the United States, and the principal author of the Declaration of Independence. The reverse side of the coin shows Jefferson's home, Monticello, a historic building located in Virginia that has been a central part of American culture and heritage. By 1991, the Jefferson nickel had already been in circulation for over 50 years and was still being struck at multiple U.S. mint facilities, including Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. The 1991 Philadelphia nickels were produced without a mint mark, while the Denver mint coins carry a small D on the reverse, and the San Francisco mint produced proof coins with an S mint mark for collectors. These mint marks play a huge role in determining value, since some issues are more common while others are harder to find, especially in high grades. Now, when it comes to value, most 1991 Jefferson nickels in circulated condition are worth only face value, which is 5 cents, but the story changes dramatically if you have a coin in excellent uncirculated condition, or even better, a coin graded by a professional grading service as mint state or proof. Coins with high grades command a premium, and this is where serious money comes into play. For example, a regular 1991 Philadelphia nickel in average circulation may not bring more than its face value, but if you have a mint state 65 or higher, the price can rise to several dollars. In today's market, collectors love coins that have strong details, full steps on Monticello sharp strike, and clean surfaces. The same goes for the 1991 D Denver nickel, which also has high mintage, but again in pristine condition. It can be worth a nice premium. The real standout, however, is the 1991 S-proof Jefferson nickel. These were specially struck for collectors using polished dies and planchets, creating a mirror-like finish. These proof coins were never meant for circulation, so if you find one, it most likely came from a collector's set, and values can range from a few dollars all the way up, depending on the grade and whether the coin is a deep cameo or ultra cameo strike, which are designations given to proof coins with exceptional contrast. Now, let's talk about some record prices, because this is where the 1991 nickel really shines. Certain examples in the highest grades have sold for hundreds of dollars at auction. One top graded 1991 D nickel sold for over $1,000 because it was a perfect condition example with full steps. This shows that condition truly is everything in the coin world. The difference between a common nickel and a valuable one is often in the smallest of details, another thing collectors watch for mint errors and varieties mistakes that happen during the minting process, such as off-center strikes, double dies, or planchet errors can dramatically increase value. For 1,991 Jefferson nickels, errors are not as common as in some other years, but they do exist, and when they come to auction, they can easily sell for tens or even hundreds of dollars, depending on rarity and demand. So, what should you do if you come across a 1991 nickel? The first step is to check for the mint mark. Look for the P for Philadelphia, no mark for some. Coins the D for Denver and the S for San Francisco. If you happen to have the proof S coin, you are already ahead. Then check the overall condition. Look closely at the details on Jefferson's face, the lettering, and Monticello on the reverse. If the coin has strong details, no heavy scratches, and plenty of original luster, it may be worth grading in. Today's market collectors are always on the hunt for high-grade examples. So, if you believe you have a gem, you can submit it to a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC to receive an official grade. Once graded, a high-quality coin will often bring much higher offers than a raw, ungraded piece. Remember, the top values are achieved by coins that are preserved in pristine condition with no wear and full strike details. To sum it up, the 1991 Jefferson nickel is a coin with a rich history. And while most examples are still worth just 5 cents, there are rare cases where the value jumps into the hundreds and even thousands of dollars, depending on condition, mint mark, proof status, or unique errors. So it is always worth checking your coins carefully. That is all for today's deep dive into the Jefferson nickel from 1991. If you enjoyed learning about this coin and the potential hidden treasures in your pocket change, be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share this with other coin enthusiasts. As always, keep searching, keep collecting, and happy hunting. Today, we are diving deep into the history, value, and collectability of the Jefferson 1994 5-cent nickel coin. This is a coin that many people have sitting in their change jars or tucked away in old coin rolls. But what most do not realize is that some examples of this coin can actually be worth a lot of money, depending on condition, rarity, and mint errors. Let's break it all down so you know exactly what to look for. The Jefferson nickel series has been around since 1938, replacing the Buffalo nickel, and it has remained one of the longest-running designs in United States coinage history. The obverse of the coin features a portrait of Thomas Jefferson, designed by Felix Schlag, while the reverse shows Jefferson's Monticello home. The 1994 issue may not be considered extremely old, but as the years pass, collectors are starting to pay more attention to the 90s-era nickels now. When it comes to mint locations, there are 3 primary varieties for the 1994 Jefferson nickel. You have a 1994 no mint mark, which was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, the 1994 D, which came out of the Denver Mint, and the 1994 S proof issues produced at the San Francisco Mint. Proof coins are always struck with extra care, polished dies, and special planchets designed for collectors. The majority of these 1994 nickels were struck for circulation and saw heavy use in commerce, but examples that survived in pristine condition are the ones that carry significant value today. Let's talk numbers. The Philadelphia Mint struck over 722 million nickels in 1994, and the Denver Mint struck over 700 million. That means that nearly 1.5 billion nickels were made in circulation for that year, making it a very common coin to find in pocket change. However, the challenge is finding a coin that grades extremely high in uncirculated condition. If you have a nickel graded MS65, MS60, 6 or even higher by professional grading services like PCGS or NGC, then you're looking at a coin worth much more than face value. Most circulated 1994 nickels are worth around 5 cents to perhaps 25 cents, depending on where. Uncirculated examples typically range from $1 to $5, depending on grade, but the real money comes in at the top end of the scale. A 1994 nickel in MS67 condition can be worth anywhere from $100 up to $300, depending on demand and auction results. And if you happen to come across an MS68 grade, which is extremely rare for this year, the coin could be worth well over $1,000. A 1994 D nickel has a Similar story with so many struck, it is very common in lower grades, but higher mint state examples, especially MS67 and above, can bring strong premiums. For example, MS67 coins often sell in the $150 to $300 range, and MS68 examples, if found, could push prices into the thousands now. We cannot forget about the proof coins from San Francisco. The 1994's proof nickels are very popular among collectors because of their sharp details and mirror-like finishes. These proofs were sold in proof sets directly to collectors, not intended for circulation. Most of them are worth between $3 and $10 depending on condition, but if you find a deep cameo proof or a coin graded PR 70 perfect condition, it can sell for $50 or more. One of the most exciting things collectors look for in 1994 nickels is errors and varieties. Errors can include off-center strikes, double dies, clip planchets, or coin struck with die cracks. For example, a double die obverse where lettering or the date shows extra thickness or doubling can significantly raise the value, depending on how strong the doubling appears. Even minor misstrikes can bring $20 to $50, while major off-center strikes or dramatic errors can reach hundreds of dollars. When collecting nickels from the 1990s, it is important to remember that quality matters. The United States Mint produced billions of coins during this time, and quality control sometimes slipped, so coins with weak strikes or die were common. That means finding a sharply struck lustrous example really sets it apart from the rest. Collectors who build high-grade registry sets are willing to pay big premiums for those top-end examples, and that is why some 1994 nickels in the highest grade sell for thousands of dollars. So, if you have a handful of 1994 Jefferson nickels sitting around, check them closely first. Determine the mint mark, which will be located on the obverse of the coin near the date. Look for Philadelphia, no mint mark, Denver D, or San Francisco S. Then examine the condition. Does the coin still have its original mint luster? Are the steps on Monticello sharp and full? If so, you may be holding a valuable coin. And if you suspect you have a high-grade coin, consider submitting it to a grading service for authentication and certification, because that is what really establishes the coin's market value in today's market. Most average 1994 nickels will still trade for face value, but collectors know that gems exist out there hidden in circulation. Rolls or old collections, the top-graded examples, bring in thousands at auctions, and rare error coins can also add huge value. This shows that even modern coins are worth checking, because you never know when a common coin in your pocket could actually be a treasure. So, the Jefferson 1994 5-cent nickel coin might look ordinary at first glance, but with the right grade, the right error, or the right proof strike, it can be worth a lot of money. That is why it pays to always check your change carefully and never overlook even the most common dates in the Jefferson nickel series. Thanks for joining me today on this coin collecting journey. I hope this information helps you spot those hidden treasures in your own collection or in pocket change. If you enjoyed this breakdown of the 1994 nickel coin, be sure to like, share, and subscribe for more videos on coin values, history, and tips. And as always, happy hunting. We're going to talk about the Jefferson 5-cent nickel from the year 2017, a modern coin that you probably have in your pocket change right now. But what makes this coin special is not just its design and history, but the fact that some of these coins can actually be worth a lot of money in today's market. So stay tuned as we break down everything you need to know about the 2017 Jefferson nickel. Let's start with a little history. The Jefferson nickel has been part of American coinage since 1938. When it replaced the Buffalo nickel, the design chosen was created by Felix Schlag, and it has featured the portrait of Thomas Jefferson, the third president of the United States. Ever since in 2006, the design was modernized, and sculptor Jamie Frankie's portrait of Jefferson facing forward became the standard design that you still see today on your coins. By the time we get to 2017, the United States Mint was still producing billions of these nickels each year for circulation on the obverse of the 2017 nickel. You will see Jefferson's portrait facing forward with the word liberty in Jefferson's own handwriting, along with the motto, "In God We Trust," and the date 2017. The mint mark is found on the right side of the coin, just below the date. Depending on where the coin was struck, it will either have a D for Denver or AP for Philadelphia. There are also proof coins made at the San Francisco Mint with an S mint mark. Those proof versions are specially struck for collectors with a mirror-like finish and A lot more detail on the reverse. You'll find Monticello Jefferson's historic Virginia home with the word Monticello across the bottom, along with the denomination 5 cents, United States of America, and the motto, E pluribus unum. The design is simple yet classic and has remained a symbol of Jefferson's legacy for decades. Now, let's talk about the mintage numbers and rarity. In 2017, the Philadelphia Mint produced over 882 million nickels, while the Denver Mint produced around 852 million. That is a massive number, meaning the vast majority of these coins will only ever be worth face value 5 cents. However, the collector market is not only about how many were made, but also about condition and errors that can make a single coin stand out. If you happen to find a 2017 Jefferson nickel in uncirculated condition with no scratches, bag marks, or where it could be worth anywhere from 50 cents to a few dollars. To collectors, certified high-grade coins graded MS67 or higher by PCGS or NGC can sell for much more. In fact, a 2017 D Jefferson nickel graded MS67 recently sold at auction for over $600, which is an incredible jump from its 5-cent face value. Error coins are another area where 2017 nickels can become valuable. Some examples include off-center strikes, double dies, missing steps on Monticello, or improper planchet errors. Coins with strong full steps on Monticello, the reverse design, are especially sought after by collectors. Full steps means that all 6 steps leading up to the building are sharp and clearly defined without breaks or weak spots. Coins with full steps often bring premium prices at auctions, and online sales-proof versions of the 2017 nickel made at the San Francisco Mint can also be collectible depending on condition and whether they are standard proof or the special reverse proof finish. Those coins usually sell for between $3 and $10 each, but in perfect PR70 grade they can sometimes sell for $30 or more, which again is way above face value. Now, for the big question, what is the current market value of the 2017 Jefferson nickel? The truth is that most of these coins are only worth their face value 5 cents if they are found in circulation. However, uncirculated high-grade examples with full steps or certified coins from grading services can range from $25 up to hundreds of dollars. In rare cases, error coins can sometimes bring in over $1,000 depending on how dramatic and unusual the error is. So, the takeaway here is simple: always check your pocket change and look closely at your nickels, because even a modern coin like the 2017 Jefferson 5-cent piece could be hiding real treasure in plain sight. Whether it's a full steps example, a rare mint error, or a high-grade coin certified by a top grading service, these little nickels can be worth much more than most people realize. That wraps up our deep dive into the Jefferson 2017 nickel coin, its history, design, and market value. I hope you found this video helpful and informative. If you enjoy learning about coin collecting and rare finds, be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with other collectors. As always, keep hunting and happy collecting.